Who I believe to be the true birthers of choosing beggars, it's entitled parents. Our first one is from, I don't know why I'm here. It seemed like many were amused by my crazy mother's antics shared in Mom still complains we named my daughter after mother-in-law 5.5 years later. My mother-in-law is deceased. So here's another funny, ridiculous story from my pregnancy. Disclaimer that this took place almost 2 years ago. My mother is narcissistic and abusive. She pretended to change when we were adults. All of that went out the window when, during my pregnancy, everything had to be her way, or she'd scream I was making everything about me, ignoring that she was making everything about her. One thing she demanded early on was a gender reveal. I still don't know why. She and my father didn't have them for my brothers or me. My brothers also wanted a gender reveal. When I asked why, I was told because they wanted to. I said no. I think they're a bit creepy, to be honest. This is not a judgment on people who do have them. I just didn't want one for us. My husband agreed. I offered a compromise to my mom to add pink flowers to the ultrasound photos. That wasn't good enough. My mother planned a gender reveal anyway for a weekend I was visiting. I'm about 7 hours from them, and didn't tell me. She planned a virtual party with pink gender reveal decorations. My dad let me know, and I was upset. I talked to my mother, and she told me she was compromising by doing a virtual gender reveal because I didn't want a party. I told her I appreciated the thought. I was in therapy for family dormation at the time, but it wasn't something to compromise on because it wasn't wanted. I couldn't even cancel it myself because she didn't tell me who she'd invited. She and my brothers hounded my husband and me, trying to get us to change our minds. Even my dad reached out to ask me to just go along with it to keep the peace. After some weeks of this, my mother came up to us and meekly said she understood we didn't want it, but that she'd bought some pink poppers on sale. She said it would mean a lot if we could please pop them and take pictures with my husband, dad, and brothers when we visited. It was a completely different way than she'd been talking to me. I agreed since I was taken aback, and a few photos for posterity couldn't hurt, right? Plus, she asked so nicely. Well, a week before we were to visit, I was flooded with calls and texts congratulating me on my baby girl. My husband and I had only told immediate family at that point, as I had suffered a late miscarriage previously. My mom had changed the date and the gender reveal a week early. My husband and I weren't even in the state. She filmed it and sent it to everyone in the family, but my husband and me. She also didn't include any of my husband's family, though she had their contact info. I tried to call her, straight to voicemail. 4 hours after sending it to everyone else, she sent the video to me. It features my brothers breaking a piñata. When it explodes in pink powder, my mother says, "That's right, we're having a girl." Then they pop pink poppers. Honestly, I think it's pretty cringy. Finally, she answered me. I asked why the fuck she had the gender reveal and sent the video without my involvement. She dismissed me and said, "I don't know why you're so upset. You didn't want the gender reveal anyway." Like, yes, this is exactly why I was upset. She stole my pregnancy announcement and specifically did the gender reveal I didn't want and hid it from me. I was so upset I canceled on visiting the following weekend and spent time with my husband's family instead. That's when we all agreed to use mother-in-law's middle name for my daughter, which is covered in the post I mentioned at the beginning. Hopefully you get some enjoyment from this story. I was so upset at the time, but looking back, the absurdity makes me laugh. Oh yeah, we definitely already covered that other story, and I touched on it before that the mom was being extremely selfish and entitled. This post right here proves exactly just how entitled and batshit insane this mother really is. And our final one is by Tit4Tat101. To give you a little context on the kind of relationship me and my grandmother had, for 20 years she spelled my name wrong. Every card that was sent had my name spelled wrong. On my 21st birthday, she sent me a card that had my name spelled correct, and I, along with my mother, were so shocked that we were wondering if she had actually sent the card. Growing up, my grandma was really close to one of my cousins I'll call Mike. I'll assume it was because she and Mike lived close by, and I only got to see my grandma on holidays or family vacations, so like once or twice a year. So the moment that made things click for me was when I was around 12, when we were taking a family vacation. We decided to go to a museum specifically for a Native American exhibit, as my grandma says we are Native American. Literally no evidence of that. But once we got to the gift shop, my grandmother had bought herself and Mike matching necklaces. I remember feeling very bad and left out, so I asked her if I could get something to match with her as well, and to summarize what she said,
"Oh, well, it's just a thing with Mike and I. We really bond over our Native American heritage. You don't know much about it, so it wouldn't make sense to buy you something."
It was at that moment in my head I was like, oh, so you're just never going to acknowledge me and my feelings. From then on, I never went out of my way to vie for her attention. Cut to several years later, and I'm an adult and my grandmother is 79. My aunt had planned an all-girls cruise for our family. The entire time, my grandma kept wanting to join me for things and kept asking about my plans. I found it all very weird because she showed literally no interest in my life prior, and she was shocked when I didn't want to do anything with her one-on-one. I had talked to my mom about this, and she was like, "Yep, that's her. Her love goes to the highest bidder. I think now that she's really old, she's worried about the lack of connections she's made with family and doesn't want to die alone." I kind of felt indifferent about the whole thing. Sort of like, it sucks to sucks mentality. Which I do feel guilty about because she is my grandma, but relationships are a two-way street, and my grandmother made no effort and seemed to go out of her way to make me feel bad. I'm not going to ignore her, but I'm not going to go out of my way to placate her because she now suddenly feels guilty, especially if that guilt comes from a place of self-interest. Edit. I just wanted to add some positivity to this mess. I've been building a relationship with my grandmother from my dad's side. The only reason we weren't close is because my parents divorced when I was a baby and my grandmother lived on the other side of the country, so it was hard for us to communicate and see one another. Now I talk to her on the regular and she's super supportive and sweet. She always ends her messages with, "I love you, and remember you can always call your grandmother if you need anything." And it's very clear she doesn't have favorites. She loves all of us grandbabies equally, even the ones not related by blood. It's really funny how somebody can pretty much just disregard you for most of your life, but then all of a sudden want to act like they've been the biggest part of it the entire time, and then want to act like you should be able to bend over backwards to, I don't know, make sacrifices for them that they failed to make for you. In some ways I feel bad, but at the same time I feel like this grandmother made her bed, so she needs to lie in it. Alright, that's enough entitlement for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Entitled Parents. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons and super thanks contributors. Have a great day and stay safe out there.